Hi, and welcome to Best in Tesla. So Tesla's lead engineer of the Tesla Cybertruck just gave some very nice examples of why Tesla's pace of innovation is so fast and how they can make changes that no one else seems to be able to do, and how their virtual integration makes them basically uncatchable. As we have talked about for many years, and I have interviewed Joe Justice about Tesla's agile culture and ability to make multiple changes a day if they need to, makes Tesla very unique. And someone like Toyota is not just copying Tesla's production method, but even trying to copy Tesla's agile culture, which will be much harder than just copying Tesla's EV technology. So let's check it all out and let's dive right in. So, Elon Musk always says the pace of innovation is the only thing that matters, and that is why Tesla is set up to make changes as cheaply and fast as possible, and the structure of the company is set up so everyone can make changes. If Tesla's Tesla One AI system that runs the whole company says, yes, your suggestions added value to the production or made the car more efficient or reduced the cost of production, then you can go ahead and make that change to the production itself without asking any managers. So Tesla makes tests of every single vehicle they made. This is also something that set Tesla apart from everyone else, as the others make a test of a car to make sure everything is okay and then produce like 10,000 units, and then they make another test of a vehicles to check that everything is still as it should be. But not Tesla. They test every single car that comes off the assembly line. So if they come up with a new idea for a change, they can just implement it because they know that car will go through the whole test. That is all automated, of course, as long as they don't change anything that needs official approval as well, they can just make that change. This is what the other companies try not to do, because making changes is very expensive for them. But Tesla has made sure that making changes is almost free, so they can do as many changes as they like. So as Joe Justice has said, and Elon Musk has confirmed later, that yes, they do make about 20 changes to a production line or the product itself during a week. And they do this by making these routers, as Joe Justice has shared with us before, that from the production cell, Tesla might route one car from that production cell to test something new and test if it makes the product better or more efficient, and if it does, they route that car back into the production line and implement the new innovation to the car into the production cell. And while all the other production cells are still producing the old version, which means production never really stops, as Tesla doesn't use production lines in a traditional sense as we know them, but use production cells. So as they make a change to one cell, every other cell still produce at max capacity. And when one cell is ramping up with the new innovation, whatever that might be, to 100% capacity, then they start implementing that change into the other cells one at a time and ramp them back up to full capacity, and they do this all the time. So Tesla has made sure they can make a change multiple times a day if they need to, and at very low cost, in a way that makes sure that they will never lose much production capacity by making all these changes, and this is rooted in their culture. So it doesn't really matter that Tesla is getting bigger, Tesla is not slowing down. As we have seen with many other companies that becomes a very big company, they tend to become really slow. Like Elon also said himself back at Battery Day, that Tesla will only speed up as Tesla becomes bigger.
What tends to happen as companies get bigger is things tend to slow down. actually they're going to speed up.
And one other thing that Tesla has is that they are making sure that the different teams that are working on different parts of the car are still working together and brainstorming together when they are working on a new product like the Cybertruck. As Vaz, Tesla's lead engineer for the Cybertruck, also wrote on X. Have you heard of Conways Law? It's an interesting observation about the root causes of why large organization usually makes products worse. In 1967, Marvin Conway wrote organizations which design systems are constrained to produce designs which are copies of the communication structure of these organizations. When you think about any product carefully, if you see the obvious lack of integration is usually due to the organizational social boundaries. If you are working on a product, you should consider if the organization boundaries are getting in the way of optimal design. A well-known example, in the early days of Tesla, there was a battery team and separately a vehicle structural team. The structures team designed the vehicle's body to meet given requirements and strength, crashworthiness, torsional stiffness, etc. Likewise, the battery team designed their part to be self-contained. It could survive durability, accidentally being dropped, being hit in a car crash, etc. As a result, we ended up with a super dense battery in a strong box-like structure which was installed into the vehicle, which made a nice space for it to mate into. There were no issues with integration, everything fit together perfectly and met all products' goals. It achieved one of the highest crash safety rating measured at the time. But we had a box full of battery cells that was installed into another empty box-shaped receptacle on the body, a box in a box. When you simplify it down that far, it sounds obviously wrong. The two organizations had achieved their goals, worked together without friction, and the product met all over goals. Yes, the product ended up with a clear lack of optimization as the result because of the organizational boundaries of the two teams working in isolation. Nothing was wrong, but it wasn't optimal. So before the next product was designed, the battery team gave responsibility of the battery structures also to the vehicle structure team. On this iteration, we ended up with a structural battery, which is an integrated part of the body and crash structure. Without it, the vehicle body would not work. It's the literal floor for the vehicle, but the redundancy is gone and the design is more efficient as a result. The vehicle also achieved one of the highest crash safety ratings measured at the time. This is a super obvious example in retrospect and solved with a fairly large organizational changes, but you can also see this happening in small technical decisions and doesn't require structural changes to fix. Someone just need to question if there is a better solution in a team open to criticism. This mindset to work together to make the best product regardless of ego is where you end with the most innovative product. Some smaller examples have been seen when inspecting Cybertruck design: the chassis air suspension, which is used to pressurize the battery pack to prevent water ingress, the subwoofer, which utilized the air volume of the body sides instead of making the enclosure larger, centralized zonal vehicle controllers instead of many small distributed controllers, doors which used the exterior surface as a crash intrusion beam, the pedestrian warning system is used as the horn, and the list goes on. The excitement and motivation by everyone involved to work across boundaries and actively break down Conway's Law is one of the many reasons I love working at Tesla. Yes, and why no one else but Tesla could ever have come up with a beast like the Cybertruck that is filled to the brim with small engineering marvels like Vaz just explained here, because Tesla has this culture down now, and it really shows in the Cybertruck that pretty much every little thing in the Cybertruck has been made more efficient and better, like the steer-by-wire or the 1 gigabit Ethernet, the less control units, the new way of making gigacasting, and still of course using the structural battery packs and the 48-volt architecture and the stainless steel that they don't stamp and they don't paint, so they have reduced the footprint of the factory that is needed for the Cybertruck compared to something like the Model Y. So they have also invented a whole new ally to make this Cybertruck work, and a new way of producing a pickup truck altogether. And all the little things that Vas just mentioned. The Cybertruck is such a good showcase of Tesla's culture. This car was not designed by a designer, and then the engineers had to figure out how to make that design work, and then the manufacturing team had to figure out how to make the truck, and then the automotive team had to figure out what parts of the car could be automated. No, at Tesla, the designers worked together with the engineers and the manufacturing team and the automation team, and that is why Tesla ended up with a truck that doesn't look like anything else, and they have been able to ramp it up faster than any other electric pickup truck on the market. It is already the best-selling EV pickup truck in the world, and it has not even been in production for a year. And Tesla even had to make all of this from scratch and invent a whole new production line, as this truck is not made like any other cars Tesla has in production. So a completely new platform with a completely new architecture and new innovative technologies. And despite all of that, it has ramped up so much faster than Ford's F-150 Lightning, that is basically just an electric version of their good old pickup truck. Something that Ford has been making for over 100 years, just electric. But Tesla has outpaced them in ramping up production anyway. Tesla really does not get the credit they deserve for their manufacturing skills. Most people don't understand how insanely good Tesla has become at manufacturing. So good, in fact, that Toyota, that was known for their manufacturing skills, has now started to copy Tesla's production method with gigacasting and structural battery packs, trying to get their next EV platform to profitability. And while Toyota is copying the old way of building an EV platform from Tesla, Tesla has already shown us a whole new way of doing things with their Cybertruck that you can bet your bottom dollar has also been a test bed for future models, where most of the new technologies and ways of making the truck will be implemented into the new models, including the upcoming Cybercab. So because Tesla is not only the most integrated automaker on the planet, but because their culture has been set up in a very different way, they can do stuff so much faster than any other OEM can. And it's not like the others don't get it, but it's just insanely difficult to change the culture of a company, especially when you are already a big company. But Toyota is actually working on that as well, to become more agile. Joe Justice has actually been working with Toyota to help with this, where Toyota has created a whole new company that today is called Voven and is owned by Toyota but runs completely separately with a separate set of rules, and they are trying to learn what it will mean to be an agile company. And the future CEO of Toyota, Daisuke Toyoda, is part of this new company and will learn about running an agile company before he becomes CEO of Toyota in around 2028 and try to make Toyota a more agile company. I am afraid that it might be a little too late to get agile by the end of this decade, but we will see if they can manage to become profitable on their EVs before they lose all their profitable business in the ICE and hybrids, and then become agile enough to stay a dominating OEM in the world. But nice to see that Toyota is making big steps towards becoming more like Tesla, but the only question is, will it be fast enough? But a very good showcase of how even Toyota get that Tesla is the one to copy, both in terms of production method, but also in the way the company is run and the agile culture they have within the company, making sure that they will never become big and slow-moving company, but forever have the pace of innovation that will be the benchmark for everyone to follow. Just like we know that Tesla doesn't really have a yearly budget, because if they come up with new technologies that need some investing, they will just do it, and they don't have to get up to the board members to get permission to do that. Just the opposite can be seen with someone like Volkswagen, and why they're really starting to fall behind as they are delaying everything. But Volkswagen doesn't just have a yearly budget, they have a 9-year budget plan, which Herbert Diess showed off in 2021. So they know what they will spend spend over the next 9 years. Now there are only about 5 years left of that 9-year budget. So if they want to spend a lot more than what they have already agreed on in their 9-year budget plan, they have to get up to the board members to get approval to make these changes. This is so slow and so complicated, Volkswagen will never become agile. They talked about how they would try to copy Tesla's production method back when Herbert Diess was CEO, as they showed that they could only make the ID.3 in 30 hours, but Tesla could produce the Model 3 in 10 hours. But now, 4 years later, and it's still only talk. They have not gotten any step closer to realizing that. Tesla still builds electric cars 3 times faster than Volkswagen, which means that Volkswagen would need about 3 factories to produce the same amount of cars as Tesla does with 1 factory. As Elon also talked about on Battery Day, that Tesla's goal is to make their factories, the product that builds the product, so efficient it would take the others 3, 4, or maybe 5 factories to do the same.
The faster you go, like if a factory that's moving at say twice the speed of another factory is equivalent to 2 factories basically, and the company that will be successful is the company that with 1 factory can accomplish what other companies take 2 or 3 or 4 factories to do. So this is what we're trying to do here is say, okay, how do we with 1 factory achieve what maybe 5 or even 10 factories would normally be required?
As Elon talked about how they are trying to make more of the volume of the factory making useful work, what Elon calls volumetric efficiency of the factory.
Yeah, if you break the factory down into cubic meter sections, and say or smaller, it could be like 1 liter sections, and say is a majority of this volume doing useful work, you would be astounded at how bad most factories are. They're like maybe 2 or 3%, including our factory in Fremont. So I think it is possible to get to at least 10 times that volumetric efficiency. So more like 30% ish, maybe more, and be 10x better, which means the factory can be 10 times smaller.
And Tesla is constantly working towards that, making their factories more and more efficient, not just the production line or cells, but on a volume matrix scale as well. So I don't think many people really understand the edge Tesla has here compared to all the other car manufacturers, but it does show up in their profit per vehicle. We can see that no one else is making money on EVs, so someone like Ford is losing tenths of thousands of dollars on every EV they sell, and Tesla makes about $5,000 in profit on every EV they sell. So Tesla's Model Y and the Mark E might look very similar to EV SUVs with similar specs, but the way they are built behind the scenes are 2 different worlds altogether. And even after 5 years talking about all of this on this channel, no one has really gotten close to Tesla's agile culture and vertical integration and work across teams. As long as that is the case, no one will really catch up to the moving target that is Tesla, as Tesla will constantly be 5 to 10 steps ahead. And tomorrow, they will have made something more efficient once again.
Eventually, every car company will have long-range electric cars. Eventually, every company will have autonomy. I think, but not every company will be great at manufacturing. Tesla will be absolutely head and shoulders above anyone else in manufacturing. That is our goal.
And thank you for watching. And until next time, take care out there and be nice.